Well, good evening. I want to be respectful of your time. Thank you for attending tonight's school board forum. This forum is hosted by educators involved in Newcastle Education Association and Delta Kappa Gamma, which is a women's teaching society. I'm Carrie Manders, and I'm currently the state president of Delta Kappa Gamma. Kylie Shoemaker is the president for Newcastle Education Association. Both of these organizations' missions include involvement in current political and educational issues. We worked really hard to make this a meaningful and informative forum. We want to thank the candidates for attending tonight. Before we start, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remove cover. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Robert Munger, an NEA member and a middle school civics teacher, will serve as our moderator tonight.
Welcome. Forum procedures. Candidates will respect and act cordially towards each other and forum volunteers. This is a Q&A forum, not a debate. Candidates will use their time to answer the questions. Each candidate will have a 1-minute introduction. I, the moderator, will then read each question, and the answering order will rotate through the candidates. Candidates may ask me to reread the question. When there are 10 seconds remaining of the candidate's time, timers will hold up a yellow card. When time is up, a red card will be held up and I will announce it. Partway through this forum, we're going to have a yes-no question that were not provided ahead of time, so candidates will indicate yes or no using paddles. And there will be no additional explanation time. The candidates, read this first. The questions asked tonight were thoughtfully narrowed down by a committee from a list of over 50 questions that were submitted by the Weston County School District No. 1 staff. With the candidate pool and the 2-hour time limit, we plan to get through 10 questions, as well as the round of yes and no questions. Candidates were provided the 10 main questions ahead of time so they could prepare their 1-minute answers. They will hear the yes/no questions for the first time tonight. So I guess at this time we would like to have the candidates give their 1-minute introduction. I guess we'll start with you, Mr. Mills.
Hello. My name is Tyler Knowles. I grew up in Newcastle. I graduated in the class of 2005. Went to the Navy. Went to college at tech school down at UTI for mechanics. Came back home to do the family business. Running for school board because I want to make sure that not only my daughter but our children throughout the district get the best education, the education that I had growing up.
Mrs. Dillon.
Susie Cullen, I'm a Susie Cullen. I'm a 3rd generation out of 5 graduates from Newcastle High School. I put 5 kids through the school district here over a 26-year consecutive period. So I think I should get an award for that one. So I have 5 that graduated from this school. They all received our foundation from the teachers here. It was a good foundation. They all have good jobs. Everybody's productive and very valuable in their workforce. I have experience working with groups, currently the Director of Operations over the correctional system in the state. So I have a lot of opportunity to collaborate. I understand the importance of making everybody feel valuable listening, because unless you listen, you don't understand what they're really thinking and feeling, and they need to feel important. And what they do feel is important. I understand the collaborative teamwork to produce a positive outcome. And our children are our greatest resource. They are the future. And I just want to be a part of that. I've had multiple opportunities over all those years to volunteer.
You can finish your sentence.
I was watching for him.
Yes, the red and yellow.
Right here.
Mrs. Shoemaker,
Thank you for that.
Mr. Fitzwater.
Okay, first off, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight and braving the weather, for everybody involved for putting on this forum. It's greatly appreciated. For you who don't know me, my name is Billy Fitzwater. Been in Newcastle for about 20 years. I am married to Michelle Fitzwater, who is a previous graduate of Weston County School District Number 1. The old saying, happy wife, happy life, so I won't conveniently forgot what year she graduated. Currently have 2 kids attending high school. Presley Fitzwater is a junior, Addison is a freshman. I'm seeking re-election for school board. With the challenges of today's world, I'm proud to help provide a safe environment and solid foundation for the most important assets, our children. Having 2 daughters that grown up in the district, I have knowledge and great opportunities that are afforded for any student to attend our school. I feel I'm visible and approachable and welcome any conversation and concerns.
It should be gone, I think.
Good evening. Where's the switch? Now is it working? Fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you so much for all the work you put in to give us this opportunity. My name is Dana Mantovigi. My son Taylor is a 5th-generation rancher here. I started school in a 1-room schoolhouse, graduated from Tongue River High School and Bryn Mawr College. I served on the Wyoming State Board of Education for 10 years. I served on the National Association of State Boards of Education Board, and I was the first chair of their Government Affairs Committee to serve 2 years in a row, working with members of Congress and other national organizations. I have lobbied and testified before legislative committees since 1986. I was the not highly qualified volunteer art teacher at Kitty Moats for 4 years. I got a great Wyoming public education, and I believe in paying it forward. It's not an easy job, but I love it.
And Mr. Val.
Good evening, my name is Paul Dow. I want to thank Delta Kappa Gamma and Newcastle Education Association for putting this on. I also want to thank all of you for braving the weather to come out this evening. I know it was kind of a nasty night. I grew up outside Osage. I've lived in Wyoming my entire life. All I ever wanted to do was come back here and raise kids, and I married my wife Dottie, and that's what we did. And I've got a daughter Ivy, who is a senior, and my son Simon is a junior, and I pray to God he graduates next year. I'm big on training, and since I've been on the board these last 2 years, I've taken every training opportunity that's come across. I take the dedication to this seriously. I've only missed 1 meeting, and that's because I was actually in the boonies of Michigan, and believe it or not, they do not have Wi-Fi there.
All right, we will begin with the questions. We're going to start with Mr. Mills and work our way down the table. And with each round, we will start with a new candidate as we progress. So, question number 1, Mr. Mills. What is your vision for education in this community, and what is one change you believe is needed?
Well, I believe that we have a great education system here in the Weston County District Number 1. I want to see more of our basic skills utilized, though. I said the same thing 2 years ago when I ran for office then, and I am seeing strides with most of our teachers to incorporate these into the classroom, but there's still more work that needs to be done. I'm talking about mostly about handwriting. I work for a small business, and I see the ins and outs of multiple people from various backgrounds when they come into the business. One thing that I've noticed is that with the younger generation, that they all have in common is that they cannot write legibly and they cannot decipher any kind of cursive. Another ability that I've noticed is the inability to count change. Now, I'm fairly young, I'm 37, but I do remember way back in grade school and in middle school that having that section in math specifically on those. It's a lost necessarily, in my opinion, skill that has been provided in the digital age.
Thank you.
My vision for education in this community is for our students for post-secondary ventures, whether that be college, trade school, or the workforce. The school mission statement says that we want our students to have the knowledge and skills to become ethical, responsible, productive citizens and lifelong learners. Our children need to be more prepared for secondary life, whether that be their future, their education, or entering the workforce directly. My vision is to teach students the skills they need to succeed no matter what path they choose. The change I see that is needed most is to teach and instill rigor and resilience, and I find that from my background of mental health. I have done a few years of inpatient, and I've seen a lot of our children actually go through the inpatient unit in Gillette, and I will get into that more because it's more screening and prevention rather than intervention in a crisis.
So I believe Weston 1 offers many opportunities for the students. I think we need to keep maximizing the resources of our schools, homes, communities in a shared and collaborative effort to provide a strong foundation that keeps every student's academic and personal growth in life to become strong, contributing members in today's society. One change I believe is needed is our lunch program. We recently added the Farm to Plate program, which has been a great success with the community's gracious donations of beef, hauling the animals to the processor, and the donations for funding the processing fees. I was very instrumental in organizing, getting donations, picking up and processed beef that was donated to the district. I would like to see us get away from the National School Lunch Program. I've been in contact with several other districts that are not participating in the National School Lunch Program. I know there's going to be a lot of hurdles, costs, logistics, stuff like that, but I'm willing to do my checks on it and see if it's something we can adapt.
My vision for this district is that we provide quality educational opportunities for every single student that walks through our doors, and making sure we have a safe and welcoming place for students, parents, community, and staff, where we personify good communication and the best culture for learning. One of the things I would love to change is to convince the legislature to stop trying to chip away at local control.
I'm hoping you'll all indulge me for just one quick minute. Would you mind standing up? If you're physically capable. Look to your left. Look to your right. Perfect. Sit down. See how easy that was? This might be simple, but it reminds me of equal purpose Unum. And whether you like it or not, this school is our Unum. For many, we are one. And I'm tired of people getting left behind as the many. We have to focus on bringing everybody in. We need to focus on our students, our staff, our teachers, our parents. Imagine what we could do if we all rose together and moved in one direction. There's nothing this community has ever fallen down on. They've always risen to the occasion. So the one thing I would like to see is us all coming together and going in the right direction.
Thank you, candidates. Next question, we'll start with Ms. Hill. An individual school board member has no authority. Only the board as a whole can make decisions for the district. How will you work with the other 8 members to focus on student achievement and staff recruitment retention?
I would like to work with the board members cooperatively as a team. It's wonderful when everybody has a different background and different interests because that's what makes a team great. You bring those positives to you. Sorry. Have shared visions and goals and foster open and ongoing communication with all stakeholders, that's the students, the parents, the teachers, the administration, and especially the community at large. Then utilize data to make informed decisions. Oftentimes, we don't really dig deep into the data and analyze and figure out what our problems are. We just let it right on the surface. And so we have to figure out what that is that's driving the negatives so that we can change it into the positives with staff recruitment, retention. Why are we losing so many teachers? And I know that's in another area that I'm going to address, so I'm going to leave it to Billy.
Again, I respect him coming into the lion's den. Weston County is notoriously conservative. And JD came in and stood at the front of a room where he knew he was in the minority and took questions, which is better than I can say for others from that wing of the party. That's my problem. So Chip not getting a chance to respond, hey, through no fault of our own or no fault of the Freedom Caucus, because the Freedom Caucus shows up, they've kind of had the stage to themselves. But for JD Williams to do something that Ogden wouldn't do, Liz Cheney wouldn't do, I mean, who he gets lumped in with, he came right up and he saw people and he talked to people.
Once again, I'm a visible, approachable person. I'm not afraid to have them uncomfortable, hard conversations. As a board of 9, you also need to be able to listen to both sides. At the end of a board of 9, which Susan talked about, come from different backgrounds. With majority rules, we work together to do what is best for the students and the staff in our district. The staff recruitment, retention, we need to be competitive with other districts our sizes on wages and benefits. Value every member of our staff. Make sure the staff has all the necessary tools to accomplish the job at hand.
It's very important that board members are willing to communicate openly and honestly, and that our stakeholders see us doing that. Board members have to be willing to spend the time and make the effort to broaden their own knowledge base, to always be willing to learn, to support students, staff, community, parents, to ask questions, understanding the hurdles and successes of achievement, recruitment, and retention fosters good decision by board members. And if you've been to board meetings, you've seen me encourage folks to participate. Thank you.
So I'm sure some of the board members have gotten tired of me calling them because I always want to pick their brains being new. I enjoy talking to people because the only way we get anywhere is to actually have conversations. And I actually listen to what you're saying. I want to understand where you're coming from, because I can't help make a decision if I don't have as much knowledge as I have. And I don't have all the answers. That's why I continually talk to teachers, staff, students, parents, other board members. If we just listen, people will tell us what the problems are. Fixing the problems sometimes aren't as easy, but as long as we listen and have open and fair, clear conversations, I think we can do what we need to get everybody to where we're at least moving in the right direction.
Well, I think we can all agree that we are here together because we want to see our students be the best versions of themselves and succeed after graduation. In order to do that, we have to hire and retain great staff members. Now, with 8 others, it can make things difficult at times, but I still believe that each member on the board wants a betterment for our future generations. With that said, it does make for good discussion, whether it be the thoughts and ideas, the personal ideals, or just straight opinions on all stacks with any board. Group decisions are best for everyone involved, especially when it comes to hiring and retaining personnel. And if that happens, then the benefit not only helps the school for having a great staff, but the students reap the benefits and in turn make themselves better.
All right, question 3, we'll be starting with Mr. Fitzwater. With 1 or 2 meetings a month, all school boards are limited in what they can do. What are the top 2 priorities you believe the board should focus on?
Number 1 is pretty self-explanatory. Priority is the safety. Number 1 priority is the safety of our students and staff. You'll see later on a House bill that's coming at you. Kind of open your eyes up a little bit. The second priority would be setting goals. Board members create policies and legislations to achieve goals like academic achievements, attendance, and special programs. And those would be my 2 priorities.
My top 2 priorities are keeping the programs students need and want, meaning we must communicate our funding and policy needs very clearly and strongly to the legislature, and we will need your help doing that. Second, I believe we need to provide the means and training to improve our district culture of teamwork.
The first thing that I would like to focus on is clear, honest, and fearless communication. Because if we have good communication, that will take care of about 90% of everything we have to discuss this evening. And I also think that we need to work on conflict resolution. There should be no reason for anybody to ever be fearful of having a conversation because of conflict. If we tackle those 2 problems, I think about 95% of our issues will disappear.
I believe the first priority would be funding for our students and staff. I know school districts throughout the nation are facing funding cuts, especially with the current rate of students going into homeschooling. But without proper funding, we can't function as a district, and simply put, it means no money, no education. We need to better the students in their academics. Our test scores have gotten higher over the past couple of years from what I've understood, but they're still not anywhere where they need to be for us to make our children successful.
Okay, so in my career, I'm big on policies and procedures, and they're there to protect the staff, the students, the parents, everybody. I would like to see us focus more on updating our policies and procedures and making sure they're there. It seems like historically, we wait until there is an issue that we've encountered before we create the policy and the procedures for the staff to follow, and that's just dangerous for the staff. They need to have procedures to follow that are going to protect them. The other thing is staff retention. Why are we losing these great teachers that stay in our community? They love their jobs. This is their home. What is occurring? From what I understand, there was a keynote speaker that attended at the beginning of the year, and 2 of the things that they cited were favoritism and retaliation. Why do staff feel that way? There's always a reason that someone feels that way, and it's usually a communication issue that can be resolved, or maybe some procedure and policy changes that just aren't there and they need the guidelines.
All right. Next question. Dan Menchke. Many of the districts around us have gone to a 4-day school week. What are your thoughts on a 4-day school week? And would you support this transition? Why or why not?
So in 1976, before many of you were born, as a high school senior, I spoke to the Sheridan School District number 1 in support of a 40 week, because I realized in April of that year, I had been in school 2 Fridays. I had missed out on almost 20% of my teacher contact time. Many peer-reviewed studies tell us that that is the most effective learning environment. We are partway there, and I do think quite a few people are happy with early release Fridays. But that being said, 48 years later, I am still in favor of a 4-day week.
This came up last year, and all I can say is I would love to have an open and honest conversation about it. We have some of the smartest people in this district I've ever met in my life. And if they want to do the homework and come to us with different plans, I don't know why we wouldn't take the time to at least hear them out. Especially when we're looking at budget cuts. Everyone agrees across the board that a 4-day week saves you money. Now, last year, we didn't have the interest from our administrators, and the current board decided to pass on it, stay with the 5-day week, and that's fine. I want to hear from both sides, pro and con, so that everybody can make an informed decision.
Well, I guess I would be part of the con decision. I do not support a 4-day school week. For one, with me living here, we tried it early in the 2000s. It didn't work. We tried it because most of our sports happen on Fridays. And a lot of the student, if not, I think back then it was 60% of the student body was actually at the sports events, whether it be football, volleyball, basketball, wrestling, they were gone. And it really made it hard for students to, what's the word? Anyways, we'll move on. You throw in a 4-day school week, then you start dealing with, it's a give and take situation. You start dealing with longer school days to make up, because we have to be in school for so many days a year in when we're going to the state.
So there are pros and cons on that situation. The pros would increase the focus and engagement. It improves attendance, it's cost saving. You have better teacher recruitment and retention in areas that have done this. Flexibility for activities, kids aren't missing as much school. The cons, of course, are childcare. Parents work a 5-day week, what do they do? Curriculum coverage, ensuring special education services are rendered appropriately and equity. I don't have kids in school, so that doesn't affect me. So I could actually rate either way. I'm not a teacher. It could go either direction for me. We would have to actually, I believe, do a survey of the kids, the parents, the community. What is best for them? What is best for our teachers? So there are pros and cons on both sides. I did visit last weekend, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, with the Burns school board member that said they had made changes, and we definitely have to research and look at schools that have done it, what was positive and what did they encounter negatively, so you can be prepared for that.
The best thing about going last is, I think everyone pretty much covered it. You have a meeting with everybody involved. There's pros and cons, either way you go. At the end of the day, I'm going to support what we as the board decided. If we go to a 4-day, or if we stay at a 4.5 day.
All right, next question, Mr. Val. What is your understanding of state standards and how are they created and implemented?
Okay, so this is what I don't mind only having 1 minute on. Next, I'll talk about the tax code. So essentially, these are the goals that all the districts are supposed to reach across the state of Wyoming. And there is a process for coming up with them. There's also a process for renewing them, but just like with my tax return, I would have to defer to the professionals that actually study this to know how to dig any deeper into it.
From what I understand, just kind of like what Paul said, every few years there's a couple different subject matters that the state goes over. They send it out into the public, get public opinion from either the public, the teachers, different various organizations, school board members. They bring it back, they modify it, they send it back out to tweak on it, they bring it back, and then they set it down to the districts for implementation. And then our staff goes through and decides how they're going to implement it.
The Standards Board works with the Wyoming Department of Education to develop and approve Wyoming state content and performance standards. The purpose of the standards is to ensure that all schools align with their locally developed curriculum with expectations and to promote a culture of achievement across Wyoming that is successful. Standards must be reviewed and or updated at least every 9 years. Schools then have autonomy to align their own curriculum with these standards and choose instructional matter. During review, I understand that a lot of those can take up to 18 months to review and to look at, and 4 to 6 months to implement.
The state standards, this is my understanding, are a foundation for our school district's curriculum. These standards create the bedrock that our district uses to construct a plan for every student and every grade level within the district. Knowing and implementing the standards is part of the equation, developing our students to be strong contributing members to society.
Well, I have been very involved in this process. I was for 10 straight years. The State Board of Education sets the standard in all the content areas. The NWDE formed committees of parents, business people, and educators to write the standards, bring them to the board. They go out for public comment if there are any changes. They go out for public comment again before they are adopted. I want to tell you that I have probably had over 100 people since 2003 tell me they don't like our standards. And every single time I have asked them to tell me which standard don't you like, which standard needs rewritten, they're unable to tell me. When I've asked them if they submitted public comment, none of those people had submitted public comment. So I wish more people would do the work to be involved in this process. I wish.
Right behind. She's. Did I touch what? You're out of time, Kim.
I'm yellow when I
I wonder if she's seeing red back there when I'm holding yellow.
Okay, we'll pick
I get my 15 seconds. I just have one more thing to say about that. Besides, I wish more people would do the work to be involved in the process. So I understand it very well, and I do trust the process because of so many people being involved.
The new store. This is the one-stop shop. We have a pharmacy. We have a bootlegger's liquor. The deli, the food that you can get at a lunchtime is so amazing. The coffee shop. Certain Friday mornings, there's 30 people sitting here in all these chairs. This is the hub for people to come and visit, have their coffee, have their donuts. It's amazing what this area has done. Totally amazing.
So should I move back to this? It's just so
All right, we'll now transition to some yes and no questions. When I finish reading the question, please raise your paddle with the green side facing the audience for yes, and the red side facing the audience for no. Are the candidates ready? Red, no. Yes or no? Are you able to dedicate the time required to review all relevant materials before the meetings, to study board policy, education rules and regulations, and state education statutes? Next question. Yes or no? If elected, you will have to swear an oath to uphold both the Wyoming and United States Constitutions. Are you able to affirm to the voters that you will stand by this oath if elected? Yes or no? Do you believe that board members should model the expectations they have of staff, such as professional communication, confidentiality, and following the chain of command? Yes or no? We have students and families from diverse backgrounds such as English as a second language, LGBTQ+, socioeconomic levels, and religious beliefs within our district. Our district motto is "Children are our business." Do you feel that every student has the right to feel safe and supported within the walls of our school, regardless of your personal beliefs? Yes or no? Do you believe it is appropriate for school board members to comment or voice their personal opinions on school matters on social media?
Yeah, that's what
Yes or no? Could you support a board decision that you did not vote in favor of? You can put your paddles down. We'll now resume our regular questions with 1-minute responses, and once again, we will start with Mr. Mills. It's important that the school board understands the climate and culture in the district. What ideas would you have to improve building culture at each of our 3 schools?
You know, this was the hardest question I had to answer or come up with an answer for. But honestly, I'd have to visit each of the schools. I haven't really been in the high school, so the culture has changed from when I was a student. However, with my daughter being just newly into the middle school, I do understand some of the culture at the middle school and the grade school. I know one of our cultures is we are so high on school spirit, and that kids are our business. I know the staff works their butts off trying to make sure that every student is safe, well taken care of, make sure that they have the necessary tools to make it to the next grade level, or even just in that class. At this time, I couldn't really give you more of an answer, but I hope that I can learn from being an electee.
Staff drive the culture. When staff are happy, culture's happy. I just had this actually in another job that I work with. I walked into one of the facilities, it was very negative, and we had to discover why. Why did they feel that way? What was causing them to not be happy in their job? Not saying that people aren't happy, because I think a lot are, but we drive the culture. And even if there's just a couple of things that bother people, the negativity can spread. So we have to find out what it is that we can do to create a more positive environment. Make sure everybody's heard, make sure everybody is listened to, that feedback is so crucial. And sometimes it involves bringing in a third party to listen to everybody because, like I said earlier, one of the things that they said was retaliation and not feeling valued. When people don't feel valued, you don't get as much productivity out of them. So it's important to feel valued, feel you're productive, and you'll work harder, and you'll create a positive environment.
I think with having 3 buildings, the culture in every building is different, but ultimately we want to have a positive culture. I know there's some areas we are lacking, but I believe we have staff that wants to improve on those areas, that are willing to do the work that needs to be done, such as team building, exercises, training. And I believe every staff member models positive behavior. They display positive language and collective statements to create a sense of belonging, not only the students, but fellow co-workers. We as a district need to celebrate accomplishments and achievements at all levels more often and publish these accomplishments. A safe environment is self-explanatory, but in today's world with a lot of unknown, we need to focus on these areas. We have a growth mindset for all our staff members looking for ways to improve themselves and support the individuals willing to go outside their comfort zone and improve in these areas. Building a relationship in different buildings means the willingness to listen to everyone in the building.
In August, I asked the leadership team to collaborate and bring some ideas to the board for improving communication, work environment, and teamwork. Every organization struggles with those issues at one point or another, and we can have improvement there too. So I look forward to supporting the best of those ideas that they bring to us and implementing them when we get those recommendations.
So I like movies, and sometimes you hear a quote from a movie that comes in handy in real life. And in Dune, they talk about fear is the mind killer. And that is appropriate today, just like it is in the movies. You cannot have open and honest communication if you fear. There is no room for fear in a chain of command if you want to improve our district. And that doesn't just go for schools, whether it be the high school, middle school, or grade school. That's everybody. Students, teachers, staff, administrators, school board members. Anyone should be able to have an honest conversation with anybody else without fear of retaliation or retribution. I think if we really want to make a difference, we just need to focus on listening to those people and making sure they feel comfortable talking to us.
All right, next question, starting with Mrs. Dillon. Our students come to us with a variety of backgrounds, traumas, and issues. How, as a board member, will you actively ensure the emotional, social, physical, and mental health of our students?
Mental health services are absolutely necessary to ensure the emotional, social, and mental health. We're in a mental health crisis across the nation. Outside services aren't enough anymore. We need to be able to offer those services to our students and their families within the school system, should they desire to participate. So we need to look at bringing in more licensed therapists to actually work with our children. We need to be doing more screening and prevention rather than waiting for crisis intervention. Like I said, I've worked in the mental health field, so I've seen our children. I've worked with our children. And there are a lot of things that we can do as a community to help stop this. But it does take a community to raise that child.
I totally agree. We do have a variety of students in our district. I believe we have many programs in place already, but we as board members and community members need to support the programs we have in place and any new ideas that come to the board. Students' well-being and mental health are very important to them coming to school, ready to learn and become members of today's society. I think you guys have heard it a couple times. We need to be proactive and not reactive.
We absolutely need to continue supporting the services that we provide that address those issues, and I'm committed to doing that. And we need to recognize that supporting our staff is always better for students too.
Mr. Munger, would you repeat the question, please?
Yes. Our students come to us with a variety of backgrounds, traumas, and issues. How, as a board member, will you actively ensure the emotional, social, physical, and mental health of students?
That's the problem. As board members, we don't know. The people that do know are the people on the ground. And that's why it's so important that we listen to those people, and when they come to us with a concern, we address it. Who spends more time with a child than their teachers and the other staff members? Absolutely nobody. That's why it is vital that we recruit people, and that's why it's vital that we retain people. I lose my mind when we lose teachers with 20 or 30 years of experience, because you cannot replace that kind of dedication. That's the kind of people that make a lasting impression on our students that need it the most. And I pray to God we can keep recruiting great teachers that make the difference for those kids.
Staff training. As a board member, like Paul said, I don't think that I would necessarily see at firsthand the issues that the staff and other administrators already do and see that is going on. I do believe that getting our staff and future staff trained as best we can for these issues before they arrive will be the ultimate benefit. But not only for just individual cases, but it will strengthen our district as a whole. Anyone can have a problem, but with the right training, the right staff, and the right initiative, we can help the majority of our students in these situations.
All right, next round, starting with Mr. Fitzwater. As Representative-elect J.D. Williams recently discussed with the school board, a bill repealing gun-free safe zones will likely pass. Teachers, coaches, and administrators sometimes need to have a difficult and emotionally charged conversation with parents and students. With this in mind, how do you feel about guns being allowed in schools? And how do you plan to balance student and staff safety with the rights of individuals in our community?
And this is that part about being the first one. I'm not sure if you guys are real familiar with this bill, but I'm sorry, but if the state mandates the bill, we have to follow that bill. There's no perfect solution, but like again, I'm gonna talk about being proactive versus reactive. If we make a policy stating that we do have staff members that can carry, we can tolerate it, so we don't have to have one policy or whatever that we cannot tolerate. If an individual has knowledge that some teachers or staff members might be carrying, then they might be less apt to attack the gun-free school, gun-free zone period. So that's my thoughts.
Our legislature consistently keeps chipping away at local control. And even though they don't like mandates from the federal government, they have always written in loopholes for themselves whenever a bill like this has been presented. And they also like to give us unfunded mandates. I own guns and I'm a good shot, but I have serious concerns about the consequences they have not addressed. I've reached out to people across the state and we will see, I have no doubt, fewer coaches and referees. That shortage is going to get worse. Kids could lose 20 to 30% of their seasons or maybe their entire sports season. Our teacher shortage will get worse. And that will threaten classes that kids need and want. Certain lawmakers are willing to take that away from our kids. But kids are more important than their re-elections.
Talk about a question that needs more than 1 minute. Nobody wants a gun in school. Nobody. Hence, that's why they came up with gun-free zones. The problem is they don't work. In fact, they became a beacon for the bad guys. And that's not me telling you that, it's them telling you that. Read their manifestos. They actively seek out gun-free zones. Sometimes going to 3 to 4 to 5 different places to find a soft target because they are cowards, plain and simple. So the question is, what are we going to do? Do we want to have a serious conversation where we want to protect our schools? Well, yeah. But we also have to make sure that we're trying to keep everybody with concerns comfortable. We need to actually have a conversation about what needs to be done. Now, like I said, 1 minute isn't enough time. I talked to Chip Nyman earlier today, and I think I might have a solution. Just remember what I said about Duke. Fear is a mind killer. Don't be afraid.
In addition to the weekly printed version of the newsletter journal, we also promote our community and share important information on our award-winning website, newslj.com, and in our weekly email newsletter, Nuke Now. We also connect with readers through various social media platforms and invite you to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can even take a look at a recent meeting of the City Council, School Board, or County Commission on our YouTube channel. We do hope that you will go to newslj.com and subscribe today, and we look forward to making all of our great content available to you. But regardless of your level of support, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for doing your part to preserve a free and independent local press.
We live in different times. The mental health problems that we discussed in the last question are all big concern, and we live in a time when bullying runs rampant through not our district, but multiple districts across the state. And most of it goes unchecked and under the radar because people are too afraid to speak up for themselves in fear of retaliation. I don't think we have a student resource officer this year. That's a big, big deterrent right there, is having a student resource officer in the building. It's a give and take kind of situation. If you allow, let's say, guns to be okay in the parking lot like they were back when we were in school, where you could carry a rifle in the back window, you didn't have to worry about people breaking into your vehicle and that. But now you're looking at putting possibly metal detectors at the doors to make sure that the school building itself does not get a gun. Like Billy said, it's a policy issue.
Wyoming's had concealed weapon and open carry laws for a long time. You see them in the stores, grocery store, bomb cars, we see them out everywhere. And I am pretty sure they've probably been in the school many, many times. We just don't see it, we don't know it, because they keep them concealed. It's gone on for years, it's going to go on forever, so it's just being proactive. We have to make sure that we're going to have clear policies. We're going to work with the local department, the local police department. But we also need to look at, I'm a firm believer in staff, packing, janitor, kitchen, whoever wants to. Have a class, though. They have to be educated on gun safety, because it's easier. We don't have a safety officer, that's true, but we can train 20 staff for that one officer. And if you read the research, those schools that have staff that pack, they're much safer, and students feel safer because they're not scared.
Time. Next question, starting with Dan Mantovigi. Do you trust and value the professionalism of our educators and that decisions are made with the best interest of all students? Explain why or why not.
We are so lucky to have extraordinary talent in this district. And I am a person who definitely values expertise that I do not have. No one teaches for fame, glory, or money. We teach because you love seeing the light in a kid's eyes when they get a concept or master a skill. Being a volunteer art teacher was eye-opening for me, and I appreciated my teachers as a student, but then I really appreciated my teachers. I wish we could get lawmakers to spend at least 1 hour in a classroom where they could see the amazing work that happens there. We're very lucky, and I value our teachers highly.
So we are very, very lucky to have the teachers and staff that we have here. They're absolutely wonderful people. They do a fantastic job with our kids. We're all human. We all make mistakes. And when those mistakes happen, we deal with them on a case-by-case basis, and it's dealt with individually. So while we have a fantastic group of people, and I've obviously sent my children through this district with outstanding results, I don't make blanket statements anymore because it has caught me in the past.
Now, as a parent, I have trusted my children, my daughter Ashlyn and her half-siblings, to the district with the intent that they make the best environment for my kids to learn. Now, I may not agree 100% all the time with the decisions, and I sometimes question it, but I never not get the reasoning behind it. I ask questions, get opinions, and try to delve into why what was done or said had happened. Because if you can't trust that our educators show their professionalism and show their values, then towards the students, the parents, and the other staff members, then every decision that you make, whether it be as a parent, a public member, or a staff member, may not be so informed, and it creates bias, and that's something that we don't need.
Absolutely, I trust our educators. Every person in this room is here right now because you care about the children. And you care what's best for them. Well, we all have different levels of expertise in different areas. If we work together, we can make decisions that are best for our students and the staff. Teachers you guys go through extensive schooling, training, continuous professional development, and you have skills, and we have to trust them to do their job and allow them the opportunity to improve and continue to develop so that they can continue to teach to the best of their ability.
I do in fact trust and value the professionalism of the staff and expertise. Having 2 daughters currently growing up within the district, I've seen coaches, teachers, other staff members challenge my kids, but they're also the first ones to be there to the board. We offer so many opportunities for the students in Weston County. I feel we need to keep offering those opportunities. And the majority of the staff in Weston 1 are always looking for ways to improve and further their education. They challenge themselves along with the students. And a lot of you guys have been to extracurricular activities. How many staff members do we see there supporting our kids after college, high school, graduation? You always see members of the community coming back and talking to these teachers and coaches. So that on said, we have one of the best staffs.
All right, our final question is a two-parter. We will be starting with Mr. Ballard. How do you believe a school board member can be most effective in making long-lasting, substantial, positive changes for students? If elected, what achievement would you most like to be remembered for at the end of your tenure?
Every single decision, every single vote I've ever made began and ended with what's best for kids. Period. It didn't matter if it was to do with programs, staff, teachers, what. And sometimes there is no easy decision. And I can tell you I have lost a lot of sleep trying to decide if I made the right decision or not. There's been a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of conversations with God. On the second part of that question, I'm not arrogant enough to think anybody's ever going to remember anything I did.
You have to put the benefits for the students first and foremost. Students are our future. Gen Z, Gen A, those are the people that we're striving for right now to be the best for. We all want our kids to be better off than we were, and so far in Weston 1, it looks like we're succeeding. I'm sure previous board members have all done the same thing, and that's why I'm proud to be part of this district, whether it be in a public capacity or your future electee. As far as I'm being remembered, I'm not looking for achievements, recognition of any kind for myself. To me, this is an investment of my kids and possibility of their children's futures. We can even say that it's an investment for everyone's children's future here in the district, and I want to do my part and be the best I can to help our district and the community succeed in the betterment of education for the kids. I believe I can do that with the other board members, and we can achieve along.
I believe by making data-driven decisions involving the community and getting engagement from all stakeholders and striving for equity and inclusion are all ways a board member can be effective in making substantial and positive changes. I just want to be a part of an initiative that would focus on providing resources, support systems, and education to address the needs of all students, fostering a safe and supportive learning environment, and by prioritizing some of the mental health that we do see going on in our nation, that we can enhance student well-being and their academic performance, leaving a lasting positive impact on our school and community and providing them a safe and successful future, which our teachers have done a great job over all the years of doing.
An effective school board member shall have a clear vision for the district, setting goals and following up on those goals. First, we must focus on the students, putting them first, celebrate the accomplishments of all students and staff, and look ways to improve students and staff's performance. We must work as a team. That is why we have 9 members. This requires being an active listener, thoughtful, and have some logic. We must build positive relationships throughout the district and community, and board members must have a broad focus on students' concerns and appreciate each school's unique needs. As a member of a 9 board, I don't want to be remembered individually, but I believe this board, you should be remembered as a board that helped the students, staff, and the community achieve their goals.
In order to be effective in this position, you have to spend time learning about things that you may not be familiar with. For example, the whole assessment system, state education law, public meeting law, etc. You have to be willing to ask easy and hard questions. You have to be able to share your opinion and collaborate with others. You have to be able to give and take. I spend several hours a week reading about different facets of education. I would hope that people would be able to say that I met those criteria and did my best, because it's been obvious how much I care about students, staff, parents, and community, and that they saw how proud I was of this district. So thank you, and I appreciate the support you've given me for 8 years.
With that, our forum is concluded. I would like to thank the candidates for getting up an evening, coming out, braving the weather, answering questions for us, and for being willing to sacrifice on behalf of the students, staff, and community and wanting to undertake being school board members. I'd like to thank the rest of the public for attending. Drive carefully on your way home, and have a good evening.
Stealing my thunder. I'll just re-highlight what he said. You guys did the work in an hour. We had scheduled 2 hours. You get to go home early, which hopefully the roads aren't horrible. My name is Kylie Shoemaker. I'm the president of the Newcastle Education Association, and I'm going to close this forum, Mr. Munger, with a couple of thank yous. So first, thank you candidates for participating. This was a fairly intense hour. We had very difficult questions we gave you. We did a lot of standing up and sitting down. We really appreciate the time you put in to prepare for and to participate in this forum. An extra special thank you to the members of the Newcastle Education Association and Delta Kappa Gamma, who spent hours discussing, planning, and organizing this event tonight.
Yay. Thank you.
Thank you to our custodial staff for getting the tables and chairs ready and cleaning up after us all. Thank you to our sound technicians so we could hear everything. Lastly, thank you audience for caring about our school district and spending your evening with us. We hope this helps you make informed decisions about who you want serving as your school board trustees. Your vote matters. Please make a plan to vote on or before Election Day on Tuesday, November 5th. Thank you and good night.
Forgot to say thanks, Walter.